We have now come to the moment where we will be presenting the Congressional Gold Medal segment of the program. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome some remarks by our Major General Tony Taguba.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Very lame. Very lame. Let's try it again. Because all of you were talking loudly out there, so let's put some party yelling together. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Much better. Well, thanks, Jay, for your kind introduction. This is my first time in Bakersfield, and I recognize that it's cold weather here. And compared to where I came from, Alexandria, Virginia, but just kidding, of course. It's literally baking in Bakersfield. Well, first of all, I want to thank the Delano, Bakersfield, and San Diego team of Nikki, Herb, Don, Chris, and Joe, and others for planning, organizing the recipients and assembling the ceremony. This took a lot of effort, as you know. And we consider this as a military-style event because the Congressional Gold Medal is honoring those who serve in uniform for the United States of America. Now, this would be a great event as we honor the loved ones and recipients of the Filipino Veterans Congressional Gold Medal. It's going to be a great one for you to see today. A special thanks to our distinguished guests for your presence to honor the families of deceased veterans of World War II. I believe that in our lives we often aspire to do something that is uniquely and unquestionably life-changing. In the case of Filipino and American soldiers, those we are celebrating today, who fought with fierce determination and were victorious over a brutal enemy, the Japanese forces, to defend the United States and the Philippines during World War II. Suffice to say that these soldiers, now some of us are deceased and some are still living, they were fighting to defend two countries, the Philippines and the United States, a place where most of these veterans have never been to. And this award ceremony we will all witness is a once-in-a-lifetime for many here to stay, or today. And there is no redo once we do this ceremony. This is our 95th award ceremony from across the country since we started this program in October of 2015. Reflected on the day that we presented them the Congressional Gold Medal on October 25th, 2017, when the U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Paul Ryan awarded the Gold Medal to three living veterans represented by Mr. Celestino Almeida, then 100 years old, and three of Mix of Kim represented by Mrs. Margaret Balthazar, wife of the late Major Jesse Balthazar. They were the forerunners of getting this through Congress. Incidentally, Mr. Almeida, as I mentioned to you, passed away on March 20, 2022 and was interred at the National Cemetery in Quantico. He was 104 years old. And even when he passed away, he still had to prove that he was a veteran of the United States Armed Forces because we would not bury him in the National Cemetery. So we had to petition the Department of Veterans Affairs to do so. He is there now buried at the Quantico National Cemetery in Virginia. President Abraham Lincoln once said, and I quote, "To honor to the soldier and sailor everywhere who bravely bears his country's cause, to honor also the citizen who cares for his brother in the field and serves as best as he can the same cause." For those we are honoring with the Congressional Gold Medal, it reflects the interminable cost on the lives and sacrifice of some 260,000 or more men and women who served but were not fully accounted for by the United States Army in 1948. They embodied the values of the Army Creed. They accomplished their mission to never leave a fallen comrade, to never quit. They stood strong and stalwart even when their brothers and wounded were waiting for their rightful recognition. And after the war in September of 1945, the 79 Congress passed the Rescission Acts of 1946 that denied their status of active service during the war. and betrayed them of their benefits that were promised, and also revoked their path towards American citizenship. This, of course, created a lifetime of indignation and injustice that still lingers today, because the Rescission Act of 1946 is very active to this day, and we plan to have it repealed here in the next year or so. But the undeniable proof is that 57,000 soldiers were killed in action, thousands more were wounded for life, thousands are still missing in action, and these men and women did exist, an irrefutable and significant historical fact. It begs to remind us that the families and beneficiaries of their selfless sacrifice and heroic acts of war, to our children and grandchildren, to never forget the significant acts of their courage in accomplishing their mission, and the dark unknown consequences had they failed in war. The Congressional Gold Medal was specifically designed by the veterans and approved by the United States Mint. We consulted with several living veterans of how their history will be enshrined on the medal that is 3 inches in diameter and weighs approximately 1 pound. It's too heavy to put it on your chest. As we had Mr. Langelis, who's 95 years old, separated from convention, and when we presented him his medal, he was looking at that piece of symbolism, and to this day he carries it with him in a fanny pouch, to which his wife said, that is his new mistress that is going to It is very proud of him. He never leaves it alone, even when he's sleeping at night. Now, the reverse of the medal, the front of the medal, which you will see today, I'm just giving you a description, has the faces of 3 soldiers, members of the Philippine Scouts, members of the Philippine Commonwealth Army and other units that serve with them, like the United States Marine Corps, they serve with them, the United States Navy, the U.S. Coast Guard, and also the 1st and 2nd Philippine Regiment, and an engraving of a recognized hero. And the back of the medal has the 4 campaigns that they fought in: Corregidor and Bataan, Leyte, the Visayas, and also the southern part of the Philippines. The Secretary of Treasury approved the design of the medal, which took a long time to do. Congress appropriated funds to pay for only one Congressional Gold Medal that resides at the Smithsonian Institution of the Museum of Natural History. Field veterans and families have to purchase or donate for us, field veterans, to purchase the bronze replica of the medal. The original Congressional Gold Medal, as I mentioned, is housed at the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. It is in the vault. So we're also asking the Smithsonian to have an exhibition in the next 2 or 3 years to have it done. So 4 million folks that come to Washington, D.C. to see the Smithsonian will be able to see it. Today, the recipients will receive a bronze replica of the exact design of the original gold medal. In Section 3 of Public Law 114265, to which the recipients would get a copy of, it explicitly states that eligible recipients of the medal will serve in the U.S. Army Forces of the Far East, or just HAFE, as they say, including Filipino and American officers and enlisted personnel from the Philippine Scouts, the Philippine Commonwealth Army, recognized guerrillas in the United States Marine Corps, U.S. Navy, Army Air Corps, not the United States Air Force, Coast Guard, the 1st Filipino Infantry Regiment, the 2nd Filipino Infantry Battalion, and the 1st Reconnaissance Battalion. The law purposely included men and women who were awarded the Congressional Gold Medal. To the recipients of this gold medal, it symbolizes your family history, to memorialize the selfless sacrifice of your father, your mother, your uncle, your brother, or a close relative for their courageous experience to defend and protect their families in war, so their generation and beyond can live today and in the future. They defended 2 countries, the Philippines and the United States. The medal is about recognition and selfless patriotism. It was all about their life fighting against injustice they endured during the war and after World War II. It's all about how we must honor and respect them, to tell their children why this medal is an important symbol of your family's history, and why it must must be enshrined in American history to educate the public and preserve their legacy. Our beloved veterans must not be forgotten. We owe all of the veterans, alive and living, and therefore eternal debt of gratitude for their service and selfless sacrifice. So as they pass on, we become their voices. We have to be their voices, because we just don't want to give the medal without the story behind that, and we'll tell you more about that later. The voices is the story for generations to come, and that is the most noble purpose we must accomplish, to remember their long-time legacy. So now I want to show you a 6-minute video that captures the essence of what we are presenting today.